Hey guys, Mike here. So today, I'm here to talk to you about Countdown. In this review, I'll be going over a brief summary of the plot, my quick thoughts about the film, and whether or not you guys should go and see it. So I'm going to try and keep this review spoiler-free. However, if you don't know anything about the film and you want to go completely blind, then let's just come back to this video once you've seen the film. So with that, let's get started, shall we?
Wake up.
Yo, are you calling my name?
So in Countdown, the movie starts off with a group of friends drinking, hanging out, having a good time, and they stumble upon this app which generates how long they've got left to live. So obviously thinking nothing of it, they all take it, and then some of them have got 80 years, some of them have got 90 years, some of them have got 50 years left to live. But then one of them, it says that she only has 2 hours left to live, and she starts freaking out about it. And then, their friends thinking nothing of it, obviously. They, don't really talk about it again. But then, just as the clock hits 0, she ends up dying just like the app predicted. So then we follow our main character, who in turn downloads the app, and then she tries to figure out how to beat the clock and how to stay alive. And so we have Countdown. Now, when I first saw the trailer for this movie, I thought this looked absolutely ridiculous. It honestly looked like a bad SNL sketch where, they're coming up with crazy concepts for horror movies, and, this is the one they picked. But still, this movie got made, so let's talk about it. First of all, none of the characters warrant any kind of special praise or anything like that. There's not really much to them that you can really kind of delve into and have a serious conversation about. I mean, the movie does its best to kind of give you a likable character, but there's not really anything to it that would really set her apart from anyone else in a movie like this. And there's also a couple other little B-plots going on, but honestly, you can forget all of that because the real draw to this movie is watching how people die when the clock hits 0. But in all honesty, this movie did kind of remind me of the Final Destination franchise, because, they're kind of fighting a clock in the sense, and, when their clock hits 0, they die. But with Final Destination, the draw to the movie was always seeing how creative the deaths were, such as having someone being cut apart by barbed wires, having someone's head being cut off by a lift, things like that. Whereas this movie doesn't really have any of that. None of the deaths are creative, none of the deaths are exciting. They do have a little bit of build-up to them, but they just don't really lead anywhere, and they just don't really leave you with anything. So the movie can't really necessarily lean on its main draw. As well, to be fair, the movie did kind of add an angle which I didn't really see coming, in all fairness, where if you kind of divulged from your path and you went somewhere else where you were supposed to, the clock would change according to what you've done and saying, user agreement broken. Which I thought was quite interesting, because just before you download the app, it'll come up with a big user agreement, but before you have a chance to read any of it, it'll come up, do you accept or do you decline? And, I thought the movie was going to go for some kind of cathartic, we should always be reading what we're agreeing to kind of, plot point. But unfortunately, the movie didn't really delve into that much at all. And I did think that was kind of a wasted opportunity for Countdown. And as for the actual horror and scares for this movie, obviously, as you can probably tell just by looking at this movie, it's going to be chock full of lame jump scares. And obviously, that is the case. All the jump scares are predictable, they're super played out, and none of them just warrant any kind of response. In fact, some of them, like when the actual jump scare happened, no one in the cinema even made any kind of response, which was quite shocking, to be fair. Though I must admit, there was this one jump scare where the build-up for it lasted quite a long time, and everyone was on the edge of their seat waiting to see the jump scare. And the movie kept you in this state of suspense for, I swear, about 2 or 3 minutes, and everyone was, just waiting for this jump scare to happen. So I do give the movie props for that, for, keeping us suspended, even though that the actual jump scare itself was super lame, because obviously it had been drawn out so long. The only real positive I can talk about this movie is the 2 supporting characters, the priest and the tech guy. There's not really all that much character to them, but they were funny, they were likable, and they were quite entertaining when they were on screen, so, And also, one of the other bad things about this movie was that it really tried to set itself up for a sequel, and with how this movie's reviewing and just looking at this movie, you can tell this one isn't going to get a sequel. And if it does, well, I'll probably go see it anyway, just to see if it's any more ridiculous than this one. Overall, guys, despite all the negativity that I've said about this movie, when I actually was going into it, I was quite excited to see it because I honestly thought this looked like the funniest movie of the year. I was hoping that this movie was going to be so ridiculous, so stupid, that I was just going to have such a laugh watching it. And while I was laughing throughout most of the movie, it just wasn't goofy enough or ridiculous enough to be insanely funny for me, so it even failed on that front. You know, characters, not really much to them. Story, not really much to that. You know, there's just not much going for this movie. But now, as for whether or not, you guys should go and see it. Even though I thought this was going to be quite an entertaining experience, and I thought I was going to have quite a laugh with it, or I was just going to be poking holes in it the whole time. You know, this movie wasn't really all that. And in all honesty, I cannot possibly recommend that you should go see this movie. Not even necessarily for a joke, because this is just such a bad movie, I'm sorry. So skip the headache, don't watch this movie, because there's not really much to it other than its silly premise. Okay guys, that's my review of Countdown. If you've seen it, what did you think about it? And which app do you think they should make a movie of next? Whatever you think, drop it in the comments below. Until next time, I've been Michael. See ya!